I was miserable, and I knew that wasn't it. And so different things would happen to where I would have to come back into this question of who am I and what is my purpose.
Here's what's coming up next on the Holo Movement Purpose Lab. Hello, my name is Zenka Caro. I'm founder of LightNet, and my passion and purpose is to make the impossible possible.
I am here today with Dierdre Hade,
a visionary, an author, and a master healer. She is best known for her Radiance journey, which is a wisdom tradition that really takes into account the Vedic traditions, the tree of life, the angelics. She's an original thinker and she's very powerful. I have felt her Shakti energy and I'm always amazed. Her creative partner, William Arntz, who made the movie What the Bleep Do We Know, co-authored a book with her called The Not So Little Book of Surprises. And it's so incredible. It's a ton of images with these very heavy-hitting poetic words where her master healer sense about her really comes out. She sees reality as it is. And her interview was so powerful because she really talks about how she surrendered her life as she began her journey as a healer.
I had my own breaking moment where everything fell apart and I had a choice to make. I had a choice. It's a definitive choice. And I was told I had a choice. There was a fork in the road and you can make, and you can't wait. You can't wait a week, can't wait 2 weeks. You're going to have to make this decision right now that's going to determine your whole life. And so what happened was I went through a quite horrific divorce and was brought to court, and I had a quite mean female judge. And when it was brought to light that I had quit my career, which I did, to be a stay-at-home mother, she said quite clearly to me, who do you think you are to mother your children when the rest of us are all working? And I said, well, I've worked my whole life. It was a decision my husband and I mutually made so that our children would have a mother. And, that's why I did it, because they were more important than my career. And I actually stopped my career to mother. And she said, well, that was a mistake. And she hit the gravel and she took away all of my alimony and most of my child support. Even though it was against the law, she did it. And I came home and I had enough money to live 2 weeks. And I had 2 small children. And I just broke down. I said, God, I'm 40. How? I'm smart, always been on my feet. How could this happen? What will I do? So I said, okay, I don't have credentials like to go back into a job market because I had been an actress and a choreographer and a playwright, and that's a whole different world. You have to build up that. You can't just go back out and say, okay, I'll write a play today and someone will pay me. So he said, okay, I need money today. What do I do? And I said, I know, I'm going to go to Ralph's and I'll just bag groceries because I have to get the money. I'm not going to lose these kids, my children. And I just broke down and I was sobbing. I was so upset. And I remember I went out onto my patio in Los Angeles, which I had covered with trees because we lived in concrete. I have to have a tree. I went out to the trees. I'm crying and I'm crying. This is verbatim what God said. God said, okay, do you want to pay the rent? I said, yes, I do. God said, okay, then you have to do exactly as I say. I said, okay, what do you want me to do? God said, I want you to go out and heal people. And to which I said, no way, Jose. Not going to happen. I'm not going to do this. They're going to string me. They really will take my kids away because they already were saying I was, a little cuckoo. And he said, God said, it's your choice. You have a choice. If you want to pay the rent, do as I say, you go heal people. If you don't follow that purpose of yours, what I set you up to do, be prepared for the consequences. What do you want to do? So I had this moment of like the struggle with God, right? The struggle of, no, I'm not, please, can I do something else that is so woo? Now you have to remember, this is over 25 years ago, where you say you're a healer, you are not received well in society. And I needed to be seen very well by society, or so a judge would not take my children from me. So I was like, I can't do this. So we struggled, and God kept saying over and over, do you want to pay the rent? Do you want to pay the rent? I go, yes. I said, okay, do what I say. So then I finally, at the end of the night, I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And then this interesting thing happened. This energy came in, this power came in of a courage I never thought I had. Like, okay, I can do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put myself out. And all the people that have always condemned me because, they hear me talking about the angels and whatnot, they always make remarks and sneer and whatever people do. I said, I'm going to just override that. I'm going to put this out. So then I said to God, okay, exactly what do you want me to do to heal people? Like, come on. Like, how am I going to get these people? And they're going to pay me? Right. I don't think so. And then I said, God, okay, I got it. You want me to make a flyer, put an angel on it and offer healings? Are you kidding? I was being sarcastic. And God said, yes, that's a great idea. I'm like, you were supposed to say that. So I'm desperate because the rent is due in 2 weeks. I'm desperate. So I call my friend Dierdre up, who did all the photography for the book. I go, Dierdre, I need a photo of an angel for my poster because I'm going to be giving healings. He goes, well, I didn't know you were a healer. And I said, well, it's just a secret I've kept for a long time, but now I need to do it. So he goes, no problem. I'll get Sheila, that's his daughter, who's 16. I'll wrap a sheet around her and Photoshop wings on her. And so he did that and he sent it over. And I said, that's perfect. I'm going to call her the Angel of Purity. So I made up these flyers. And then I said to myself, oh my gosh, I have to have a place to do these healings. And what am I going to do? So then the phone rang, literally the phone rang, and a friend of mine called in, hey, how are you doing? And I said, Callie, you won't believe what happened. And I told her, and she goes, oh, let me talk to my mom because she has an office in Beverly Hills. She's Dr. Steinberg. And let me see. I talked to my mom and she said, of course you can do angel healings in her office in Beverly Hills. You can have it all weekend. So I went, oh, thank you. So I put the address on and I started. Then the very hardest part. And remember, this is 25 years ago. This is nobody's doing this stuff except, under the rafters somewhere in a little town in Tennessee. So here I am in Beverly Hills and I'm with all my friends, I'm like, oh, I have this little, can you just take this? And they open. I didn't know you were a healer. I go, I know. But I am. And every time I said that, I would cringe. I would sweat, I would turn red, I would get sick. I would I could hardly even say it because I felt so ashamed, what is this kind of con I'm about to do? So I passed it out, and lo and behold, I got 20 people called me, and they call up really quiet. Is this the angel healer? I go, yes, it is. Can I come see you? Yes. They go, no, don't tell anybody I'm coming. Oh, don't worry, trust me. I'm not gonna tell them. So I got 20 people. Then I said, oh, well, what about the money? God says, oh, well, you have to charge them. And God told me a number. It's $140 an hour for the healing. I go, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. God said, do you want to pay the rent or not? It's God was like a Jewish mother. Do you want to pay the rent or not? Then that's what you have to charge. I went, okay. So I charged that. And then the day comes to give the first healing. And it was a friend I knew. I just loved her. Her name was Karen. And I was like, thank God it's her because she's so sweet. And I go to Dr. Steinberg's office. Kelly let me in. It's gorgeous. It's covered with mahogany and green leather. I mean, it's top end. And I have a table. I bring it in. But before I leave the house, I said, before I leave the house, though, all of a sudden I said, uh-oh. I said, God, you didn't tell me what to do. How do I do the healing? God said, oh, yes, of course. All right, do this. So God said, get my Bible, get my incense. I have incense. God said, get these oils. I had some essential oils because I love them. And then God said, get this crystal bowl. I had this crystal bowl. I'm a musician, and I got it a while back, and I just love playing it. God says, get this. Now, this is before anybody had crystal bowls. To get this crystal bowl, bring the crystal bowl. I said, okay, so I brought everything. We get there. The knock on the door, Karen's like, I'm here. And then all of a sudden, panic, sheer panic came in. Anxiety, I'm double over, I'm sweating. And I say, God, this is it. This is the moment. I don't know what to do. I was crying. I was like, I'll be right there, Karen, just a minute. And God says, don't do anything. Get out of the way. Just get out of the way. I'm doing this. And so I opened the door, and Karen came. Oh, hi, Karen. She sat down, and I go, well, what's bothering you? And something came in, and all of a sudden I could read her whole soul. I knew exactly why she was hurt, what happened in her childhood, and I said, well, this is what I see. And she goes, how do you know this? I don't know how I know this. But I told her that, and she said, oh, that's so helpful. Then I said, okay, well, let's have the healing session. I said, lay on the table. And she was there, and I literally did not know what to do. And so I'm kind of going in and out of surrender, right? So then I come in, and I'm like, uh-oh, now what? And then God says to me, I can hardly say this. God said, put your hands over her and love her. She's your daughter. She's your child. Love her as much as you love your children. And your love is going to save her life. That's all you have to do. That's what heals. And so I just did that. And I just put my hands over her. And then I just went into an altered state, and I picked up the oils and I anointed her. And then I picked up the crystal bowl and I played it. And then I started praying, and then I started singing these prayers that just came in. And then I did it, and then God said, okay, she's done. And I lifted her up, and I said, how are you? And she just started crying, and she said, oh my gosh, I just feel so good. I feel so healed. I feel completely transformed. And that was it. And then the next person came, and the next person came, and then I had the rent, and I paid the rent. I never advertised. Then Dr. Steinberg wanted to meet me. We started talking, and she said to me, you have an extraordinary gift, and you're going to need to be protected. So I want you to work with me. I'm going to help you navigate with people and what's going to happen. And I'm actually writing a book about that, about this mentorship with her. And we became very, very close. And she began to believe in angels. And then the work just progressed. And as I did the work, I grew also. And I learned more and more. And so then I decided, well, I should share the knowledge I'm getting with people. So I started teaching. And it organically began to happen. And just to kind of give like the cap of the transactional world part of the story is, not only did I pay the rent, but within a year, I said to my ex-husband, I don't need a penny from you ever, ever again. And then after that, I met my future husband, and I'd always dreamed of leaving the concrete city and going to the nature. And the voice said to me, you keep praying for people and you keep loving people, and one day you're going to be lifted out of the concrete and you're going to just fly into a place that looks like heaven, except you'll get to keep your body. And that's exactly what happened. 3 years later, I met my husband, and we moved up here to where we live among the oak trees and lived happily ever after.
The Holo Movement Purpose Lab has been researching for 2 years, over 100 interviews with people that have found their purpose and passion. And do you want to know what our core research finding is? Purpose isn't something you chase. It's something you find when you stop pretending.
For more, watch the full episode, which will be aired on Monday. Or you can find this story on our podcast, Awaken Your Purpose. To find your passion and purpose, join us at holomovement.net/purpose.